is Janie. Welcome back to the Bookworms Buddy. Today I have a tag for you. This is the 7 Deadly Sins of Reading tag. I believe this one's different from the one that was going around last year, but I don't know for sure because I didn't do that one last year. But this one, the original creator is BookishlyMalaysia. And then I was tagged by Sylvia over at Wish Fulfillment. I will link to both of these ladies down below. So let's just get started. We're starting off with Greed. What is your least expensive book? Clan of the Cave Bear. This one was at my local used bookstore for 50 cents. It was on the sales rack. And it is a classic, of course, but I have not read this book. I would like to read it at some point, but it looks a little daunting to me. So, I don't know. I'm sure they've got a lot of classic editions of this book, so, and maybe too many of these. So I went ahead and picked it up. That's my least expensive. Then my most expensive book, I have two of them actually. They are $30. This one, Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. Excellent book. And Nosferatu by Joe Hill. Both of these books were fantastic. I don't normally spend the money on new books like this, but I have a weakness when Stephen King has a book, and then his son, I had to read it because I liked heart-shaped box. So I had to get this one. Moving on to Wrath. What author do you have a love-hate relationship with? And for me, I had to think about this a little bit, but I finally decided that it's going to be Laurel K. Hamilton. I've talked about her in other videos before, and her Anita Blake series. I found this series, geez, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago, and just fell in love with Anita Blake, and I thought she was a badass, and she had everything that I like in a female protagonist. And I read to like book 6 or 7, somewhere in there, and the series just kind of went in the wrong direction. It kind of went south. It just went downhill for me. It just turned into a book of just sex, and orgies, and sleeping with everybody. And Anita Blake was just not Anita Blake anymore. And I sold all the books to my used bookstore, and because we had all of them up to that point, because my husband was reading them too, and we just sold them back. I didn't want that. It irritated me. I was very disappointed in where those books went, and yeah, I hated it. So I think Hamilton is a great writer. I think she's got great talent, but she just, yeah, that was just disappointing. So, Laurel K. Hamilton. Number 3, Gluttony. What book have you deliciously devoured over and over with no shame whatsoever? And for me, that book is it. I've read this book 3 times, I think. It's a big book. It's over 1,000 pages. But my favorite thing about this book are the characters themselves. Stephen King develops them amazingly. They grow up, and then you get to see what they've turned into and what they went through in their lives, and it's great character development. And of course the plot line was good, but I just love the characters. That's why I've read this book so many times, and I've read it for rereads, for read-alongs with other people, and you know, got to share their first time reading it. So yeah, fantastic book. Sloth. What book have you neglected reading due to laziness? Excuse me. This is not due to laziness. I just want to say that right now. But the book I'm going to pick up is Les Mis because, look at the book. This is by Victor Hugo. And I have heard really good things and really not so good things about this. I know my husband was watching the film, and it drove me insane. All that, because, you know, musical and all that stuff. So, yeah, I had to leave the room while he was watching it. I got to this page 50 in this book, and realized I had no idea what I had read. So I started over within that same week and read again to like page 50. And I said, okay, I've tried twice. And it's just too much for my mind to absorb. I would love to read this book. I would love to be able to get through it and understand what I'm reading. So yeah, it's not due to laziness. Well, maybe it's part laziness because I don't want to pick the book up again to try it. But yeah. Okay, the next one is Pride. What book do you most talk about in order to sound like a very intellectual reader? I don't. I read not to be intellectual. I read to enjoy it and absorb the story itself. I want to get lost in what I'm reading, not because I want to sound intellectual, but because I'm enjoying it. So I had no book to pick for that. Lust. What attributes do you find most attractive in male or female characters? For me, it'll be for both. For male characters, I want them to be strong. I want them to be flawed. And really the same goes for female characters. I want them to have flaws. I don't want them to be these perfect characters that nothing happens to them and they just conquer everything. I don't like characters like that. Characters are most attractive when they struggle with issues, when they overcome those issues, and they make things happen because of what they have overcome. Those are the kind of characters that I enjoy the most. I don't want a character that just breezes through life, you know, with, you know, no ghosts in their closets, nothing's ever happened to them. They're just, oh, happy-go-lucky characters. No, that's not an attractive character to me. I want a character who can conquer things and become strong, but also have that softer side too. You know, like Joe. Yeah. Joe Ledger has that strength and then that courage, and then he's got that little tender, softer spot for me. Yeah. Those are oh, that's it. I'm moving on. Let's go on to envy. What books would you most like to receive as a gift? Well, I got my revival up there, which you can't really see it very well. It's right there. I got that one, so maybe the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series in physical form. I have it on my Kindle, but I would like to have it where I can hold the book. So that would work. I really don't know. I don't think too far ahead. There is a new Joe Ledger book coming out called Predator 1. That would make a fantastic gift for me. And that is book number 7 in the Joe Ledger series. And that's it. That's all there is. I am tagging some people. So I'm going to tag Shannon over at Shay Shay Reads, Colleen at Colleen Greens, Jane at Yes Miss Jane, and Harriet at Harriet Rosie. Ladies, please do this tag. Let me know when you do it so I can come watch. Thanks guys for staying tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.